Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Makura. I'll be your supervisor for today. And we are going to be talking directly to our higher selves today, okay? And this is very, very key and very, very important if you're ever on a spiritual path working and you feel a disconnection from God or Source. This is a good video to watch to get you the Holy Spirit back in your life. Okay, we really need that understanding. Okay, number one, you want to understand that in magic they have something called sigils, which comes from the word sigillum, which means a seal. Okay, and in the understanding of these magical practices, they rearrange the letters and words and symbols to build something of an archetype for your subconscious mind, so that it begins to program that reality through its hidden and very complex nature, okay? So understand that whatever imaginations that you have about your certain problem, if you can symbolize it, you can control it, okay? Very simple lesson today, but a very effective lesson. Because I want you guys to get wins and results, right? I'm not just here to sit here and just like give you information that doesn't work, okay? But if you want to know more of the how, you got to reach out to me, okay? So what do I help you with? I help you get that momentum up so you can crush your goals. I also want you to remove any flow state blocks, anything that is slowing down your productivity, and I have a way to check for that, okay? And we fix those energy leaks so you become the highest timeline version of you. So I'm noticing the discipline is going to become so important as this coming month comes to an end, this year comes to an end. And I've noticed in myself, and maybe you can reflect on this too, a lot of the times we try to fit into this hustle archetype that I'm going to have to grind and push through, and it's the I do energy, right? It's the energy of effort, which we need actually. Like, men have testosterone, and the more testosterone you have, the more effort you can give into something. So you can do harder things. So it gives you the capacity to do more difficult things. But here at Primal Sutra, we use our ego and our higher self together. What do I mean by this? Let's say in your imagination, you're symbolizing your problem as something very vague, like a drum. Now, my imagination concocts a gesture for the situation and has somebody play that drum. You see what I'm saying? That's my ego that generated that image. However, it's still beneficial to the equation of this mental sigil or imagination archetype that I'm creating. Okay? So this is very, very next level advanced spiritual stuff, guys, okay? It's perfectly normal to ask questions about this process, and then we can get started. We can really get started, because once we have the obstacles out of the way, your higher self most naturally aligns to you. Oh, it's this divine love symbolism that you're using to override the old problem image, and you're using your imagination to add a bit of humor, to add a bit of a shock factor, to let yourself to really let go. Because what is humor? It generates laughter, and laughter is a release. Someone's just sending me a message about burning a receipt. So we had this idea in our path working where we would burn receipts. The specific number codes or repeated numbers would be a tribute in some way, and we would just generate stacking these receipts and burning them. And they brought us incredible good luck and charms and benefits, unconsciously. So imagine if, the ATM machine, it still generates abundance, right? And so you're basically giving that number into the ether as an abundance symbol of sorts, and it's bringing you back whatever energy you send out. Because the universe is constantly going, your wish is my command, your wish is my command. So if you're like, yeah, I'm a lazy mofo, they're like, your wish is my command. You got to start to actualize and individuate into the version of you that you truly prefer to be, which is that effortless, flow state connoisseur of the planet, that silver surfer energy that just can weave and dodge and move through any circumstance, any problem, right? I eat problems like that for breakfast. What are you talking about, right? That's the energy. So this is why prayer and meditation is so critical. It's because it creates more space. More space allows no thoughts. No thoughts allows the analytical mind to shut down and the subconscious mind to come up and start speaking to you through you. Now the subconscious is linked to your superconscious mind, okay? Which another word for that is like God goggles, okay, as I like to call them. So this kind of progress has actually been slowing you down, okay? And I'm going to explain exactly why it's been slowing you down, because it's been slowing me down. And how we can change it rapidly and move on fast into the next year. So this I'm doing energy. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm being busy for the sake of being busy. Okay, you get that? The ego loves this. The ego craves that, man. It wants to be a somebody. And then you start going from an I do to I'm doing the spiritual principles, right? And so now I don't just manipulate, I manipulate using spiritual jargon, right? It's like you've now taken the spiritual ego on, right? You have your ego, then you have your spiritual ego, then you have a part of you that's surrendering to the divine and allowing it, and part of you that isn't. So it's like a 50-50 kind of weird co-creation. There's still like brainstorming and, think tanking in progress. However, it's not very good communication. It's kind of like a bad friend who sends you like an emoji on your picture, like after some years, right? So we want to strengthen that bond with the higher self by understanding that God has a plan for you. God's plan, okay? God has a plan for you. And so what we do is we let go and surrender to the universe or God's plan for us. So to activate our higher self would be to heal our deepest core wound. Understand that, okay? Because our core wound bleeds into every single situation, and if we can invite spirit in to heal that wound for us, you have no idea how quickly it will work towards purging that wound and healing and soothing that wound. You just call out to God, whatever version of God that you believe in, right? It could be some higher entity or deity or anything, right? It's basically that idea of you're clearing up the traffic of your higher self. You're surrendering to the all-knowing, to the divine. So what if you could tap into your fear and anxiety and surrender it over as a tribute to God? When you have the power to turn that anxiety over to Him, that's inner peace. And I've experienced panic attacks in my past, okay? In moments where I feel out of alignment, that's when a panic attack starts, right? It's my mind and my body arguing with each other. It's more like a wake-up call from my body saying, wake up, bro, you need to change something around. So we're freezing you, we're adding all this adrenaline inside of you, we're adding all these anxiety-inducing hormones, right? In order for you to realize what's really going on here. It's basically an identity crisis. Something is breaking down within me, right? That's the panic attack. I'm worried something bad might happen. I'm worried I might die. I'm worried I might break this construct that I've been living in. Understand that as that's happening, you are in a state of separation. Anxiety and fear creates separation. It creates isolation. It says, I cannot connect with anybody else. Nobody else knows me. In fact, that's the thing that connects you to everybody else, actually. Okay, your fear, everybody feels fear, okay? It's just some ignore it. Some choose to move on from it. Some choose to lean into it as a call to action. And others run from it, man. Right? And so I know that a certain challenging year or whatever, right? Like this year was challenging, bro. Like not even gonna lie, right? I got hit with the most arrows this year, but I also grew in character 10 times that. You see? I modified, amplified, rejuvenated, resuscitated that version of me that I would like to keep, actually. So a lot of people go soul searching and they just end up, chasing their own tails because the soul is right here, baby. What you're really doing is you're idea generating enough so that you can get your soul and your ego on the right side, and it doesn't become this weird, like, toxic relationship with each other where one is like, I'm going to use the spiritual ego, I'm going to override you, okay? Then it takes the path of moral superiority, right? That code. And it overrides it. I think the more that you're in service and you're letting go of the self, right? Through just pure devotion, you being you, letting God's word and spirit speak through you and not filtering yourself, not adding your own agendas. Sometimes I'll make a note and I'll be like, man, how I'm portraying myself, that isn't the real me in that moment. But the real me is multidimensional, man. And you got to get this too. You're not ugly just one day when you wake up after years of tragedy, right, that you've put yourself through. It's because through that lens, through that state of mind, you appear ugly. You know how some guys say they have post-nut clarity, okay? Where they recognize like, oh, like after your libido drops, it just, you come to your senses again. Things become normal. You have a control over this, man. You're the one with the remote control on this thing. So what I do is I use my ego through my imagination to make the visualization fun for me and keep myself awake, activated, entertained. Okay, because I know my mind loves entertainment. And so what I'll do is I'll use these entertaining thought preservations, these thought forms. They're kind of like gestures, you can think of them. And they come in at the right moments to make me smile or laugh or giggle or, chortle or whatever, chuckle, right? You can think of so many words. Smirk. There are little moments in my mind where I just go, wow, like that really lightens the mood, lightens the spirit up. It doesn't take this thing and it makes it more heavier. Like the darker energies want to make this thing heavier. So what is the sacred symbolism template? Okay, so what you do is you think of an emotion, a problem that you're in right now. Let's say that you and your parents aren't speaking enough, okay? Something like that. You give it a symbol. What is the symbol? The symbol is an artichoke. I don't know where that came from, but just random, right? An artichoke. I don't know if you guys know what that is, so I'll put an image up for people who have no idea what the hell I just said. And now I'm imagining that the knife that cuts the artichoke represents something. So what is going to heal that relationship between me and my parents? What is the energy of that? Is it a trust that we need to maintain? Is it a feeling of connection? Like, what is it really that is going to heal, be the remedy for that particular frequency? I'm gonna go with admiration, okay? So admiration is the knife that cuts the artichoke. Just visualize that now. You'll feel your energy kind of shifting. Maybe you let go a little bit. Completely normal. Your body will interact with this process very differently to everybody, okay? So it's better to do this when you're in a very relaxed state of mind, so take a couple of deep breaths if you need to. Now with my visualization, I'm getting bored in this visualization right now, okay? It's not fun for me. So what I'm doing is now I'm using my ego to come in like a SWAT team to rearrange the situation around, okay? What it's doing is it's making this knife that I have into a sword, okay, like an Excalibur sword. And they're making the artichoke into like a little Pokemon with wings, okay? And now when I have to slice it, it's kind of flying away like Quidditch, right? And so now this visualization is more fun for me. I have more energy in the visuals to use and manipulate now that the image has changed. You see, this is a very powerful art form, guys. This is what Primal Sutra teaches. Some of this stuff, okay? But we really work towards pleasure alchemy, Okay? So how can we take any negative emotion, such as wrath, such as hatred, such as sadness, such as anger, whatever it is, right? Frustration. And how can we optimize it, transmute it into bliss and ecstasy and feeling good about ourselves again? To neutralize and then normalize the neutrality and then optimize to our best versions. Okay, this is what we're doing. If you enjoyed this video, share it with a friend. Have an amazing rest of your day or week. We got this. Upward Spiral Gang. May we never be the same again. Us. I'll see you guys on the other side. Cool.